I'm apologizing for my face before I actually reveal it. This is what happens kind of when you face a car on a moped and don't wear a helmet, so I'm giving you advanced warning to the appearance of my face. It looks a lot gnarlier than I had hoped, but this is what happens when you don't wear a helmet, kids. Seriously. That part is on me. I had forgotten to put on a helmet and was riding home on a moped, and the car smacked us after the green light instantly turned green with no pause. But moving on. Yes, little girl, I know. I'll try not to show this side too much, but at least now you know that another reason you don't want to bring your kids is for my frightful appearance. I will now give them nightmares. No, I'm kidding. I really don't want to. But don't bring your kids. We're on chapter 5, I believe, of... Oh, shit, sorry. Chapter 5 of Reaper Adventures, Protection, which is book number 4 of my Reaper Adventures series. You don't want to bring your kids, because not only will I give them nightmares, but it's just for mature audiences only. I mean, we all know that there's no sex scenes. I don't really write the curse words. I blurt them out, because fuck all that shit. That's just what I do. There is a fight scene between the Reapers and the first 3 horsemen of the apocalypse, which we've passed. There's a mention of abduction, I guess, as well as a scene of abduction, which we also passed. There's a mention of torture, which we passed. There's 1 or more scenes of torture, which... we'll mention the torture scene. That doesn't mean that there aren't torture scenes that can be somewhat graphic. I'm not sure. And there's mentions of alcoholism and kind of the effect it would have not only on someone's mind, but also on the family itself. So, yeah, there is a speaking of car accidents, there's a car smacking the demon in this chapter after Serena is leaving her visit with her father, who was tended to as he was passed out drunk. As I said, mentions of alcoholism. And forgive the frightful appearance. Don't mean to scare anybody, but I'm pretty sure you're all going to have nightmares. It looked a lot worse when I first got in there. It's all healing. But anyway, moving on. We're on chapter 5. Chapter 5 of Reaper Adventures Protection, and we are going to continue. So let's continue. Chapter 5. Dad? Serena asked, after wondering why the driver's and passengers' windows were apparently shot out of her cruiser. Because if you remember the last chapter, he kind of fired a gun in a very drunken state. Oh my god, my nose looks bad. Anyway, moving on. She had come to... So we're going to continue. She had come to the conclusion that her dad had shot them in his constant drunken state. This was confirmed when Serena spotted his silenced pistol. The reason he probably has one is, not a very good reason. It's not a good reason. He shouldn't have one at all. Guns are weapons in any constant drunken state. Moving on. With a sigh of disappointment, she looked at Chris, hello, who was watching her with a raised eyebrow in his hands.
Yeah. You got your whiskey, honey?
You want to know something completely and totally fucking ironic in this?
What's this?
This character's drunk dad likes whiskey.
Meow. You and that character have something in common.
No, I am not an alcoholic, thank you. I have my Mountain Dew, though.
I don't care who you are, that's funny shit right there.
It actually is pretty funny. So I'm gonna finish this damn sentence.
Yes, dear.
Yeah, okay, we're gonna start over from the sentence, because my head.
See, me not stupid. Me know your knives are way over there.
Are you sure about that? I have a knife right here.
Yeah, true. And the ironic part is, I'm the one that got it for you.
I know.
So you want to stab me with the knife that I got for you?
No, I'm just gonna hold the teddy bear.
I love you so much. Make my nuts tingle.
Oh my god, can I just finish this damn sentence?
I guess.
Thank you.
I'm almost done anyway.
With a sigh of disappointment, she looked at Chris, who was watching her with a raised eyebrow and his hands in his pockets. Skip that whole section of that conversation if you want to know what happened before, because I'm not repeating it. Continuing. Also, frightful appearance it adds.
We got drunk and pleasured each other.
Serena had insisted that Chris meet her dad in his human form, because as we all recall, Chris is actually not technically human. He can shapeshift into a human, but that does not make him human. Serena couldn't. Chris hadn't wanted to meet her dad.
Look, honey, I'm playing with your pussy.
Will you fucking let me finish?
Sorry.
Serena couldn't blame him, sorry. Though she hadn't asked Chris his opinion of her dad, she didn't have to. His actions were loud enough for her to understand that Chris didn't have a good opinion of her dad. Sorry, Chris, Serena apologized with a soft sigh of some unidentifiable emotion. Chris was silent as Serena went inside and then followed her. Her dad was passed out, an empty whiskey bottle in his hand, and a few more empty bottles scattered by his feet. And we're not talking the small little bottles, we're talking about relatively decent-sized bottles. Hello there, little Missy Blackberry. Hello. Look at you. Oh my god. Scattered by his feet. Serena felt a surge of shame and guilt and put her dad's silenced pistol in a hidden compartment. She should have really taken it, so... Oh well. She then tended to her dad, and after making sure he wouldn't die... I look horrible. Decided it was time to leave her visit. To leave... Yeah, my brain got too ahead of my hand on this. To end her visit with her dad is what I meant to put, not to leave her visit with her dad, to end her visit with her dad. She wrote a polite note and then went to the cruiser, her keys in hand and Chris following her silently. Serena and Chris got in the cruiser and Serena started it and then drove away, regretting the decision she had to visit her dad in the first place. You know, when you constantly drink alcohol like that, it tends to push away the people who are trying to care for you. Moving on. Why did you visit him? Chris asked after a long, silent drive. He's my dad, Serena replied after careful consideration. Chris studied her in silence. He causes you to feel bad. Why do you visit him? Chris questioned, unsure of how to express his confusion. He's my dad, Serena repeated as she glanced at Chris. Chris frowned with slight exasperation. He's the only family I have left, Serena explained, once she realized that Chris was confused. Chris sighed and decided that it was a good idea to not let Serena know that her dad would be dead if he were a Dioan. Chris is a Dioan, that's why I wrote that down. So, what about you? Do you have family? Serena inquired with genuine curiosity. Huh? Chris asked with surprise. Do you have family? Serena repeated. I tried not to show this side of my face too much, but my book is over here, so I have to look over this way. And that's what's comfortable for me, so screw you all. Just deal with the horrid appearance, I guess. I also did apologize in advance for it, so. Continuing. Do you have family? Serena repeated. Chris stared at her, and Serena saw a flicker of loneliness before his usual guarded expression returned. Serena began to wonder if asking Chris about the possibility of him having a family was a good idea. I've read that wrong, but we're just going with it. If Chris had a family to begin with.
It's the whiskey.
I will fucking stab you.
Whoa, talk to me dirty, honey.
Make sure you never reproduce again.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Well, you think this is fair?
That's not fair nor funny, damn it.
Well, that's the whole point right now.
And what would little Tabitha say?
She'd be happy.
No,
I'm
she
sure.
wouldn't. You hurt my daddy.
Please,
That's
come
why
on.
She's gonna do somersaults and kick you in the stomach.
She already does that. Tell me something that she won't do. You can't, can ya? Moving on. The possibility of him and his family was a good idea is what that previous sentence was, if Chris had a family to begin with. So now we're going to continue. No, Chris told Serena. You don't have a family? Serena questioned with confusion. No, I don't have a family. Chris clarified, looking at the passing scenery before Serena could see the loneliness again. There is a reason he doesn't have a family. However, I am not getting into detail for explaining why he doesn't have a family. So, Serena decided it was a good idea to drop the current topic of conversation and fell silent, keeping her eyes on the darkening road and woods around her. There was a reason this town was called Bearkill. Bearkill was home to a lot of bears. No shit. Most of them weren't harmless. Kind of like black bears, but you still don't want to piss them off. Because if you piss off a black bear, it's still technically a wild animal and it might attack. So, moving on. Every once in a while, before and after hibernation, they proved to be very dangerous and extremely deadly. I mean, they're bears. They're hungry. Excuse me, I burped. While most of the bears tended to avoid roads and people, excuse me, I burped again. They did every once in a while cross the roads and harass the people in Bearkill. A lot of the time, when someone went missing, Serena was called, along with animal control, because it doesn't say that all of them are harmless, it just says most of them, so. You get attacked by a bear, the likely possibility of you surviving is usually not so great. Moving on. A lot of the time when someone went missing, Serena was called, along with animal control. Serena had grown up in Bearkill after all, and knew the surrounding woods like the back of her hand, even to this day. I'm admittedly surprised you didn't press the subject, Chris stated. I figured it was a good idea not to, Serena said with a quick, reassuring smile. She took her eyes off of the road for only a split second. That's all it took, though. Serena stomped on the brakes, but the individual who had been illuminated in the headlights still got hit. I'm saying this as like a few days after my wonderful little... Moving on. Run over and remained still as Serena's cruiser came to an abrupt halt. Serena was frozen, and then her instincts kicked in. She put the cruiser in park and got out of it. Chris attempted to dial 911, because we all know that's a thing, or at least you should. There was no signal, and he got out of the cruiser to make sure Serena wouldn't wind up getting killed, as well as inform her of the lack of signal.
She shouldn't have been shopping for that giant dildo.
She wasn't. She was driving home.
Oh, she was dragging it home.
Driving home! Fucking stop! I'm trying to finish this. Serena had reached the individual by now, and she slowly realized who the person was. It was the demon she had encountered twice in her life now. Yeah, this would technically be the third time she encountered him. Yep, anyway, moving on. The illusions he usually had to hide his wings, tail, elongated ears, and elongated pointer nails, as well as the true nature of his eyes, were flickering in and out as he struggled to remain conscious. The demon had never been hit by a vehicle before. Trust me, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. He wasn't pleased to admit, even though his admission was a mental one, that being hit by a car actually hurt. Yeah. You shouldn't move. You're pretty badly injured. Serena's voice drifted over to the demon. I'm fine, the demon said, his voice distorted slightly by the surprising fount of blood that flowed out of his mouth. Well, I mean, he was not on a transportation device, so. There's no signal, Chris told Serena when she looked at him. Are there any nearby houses? Serena asked the demon. One you may or may not have terrorized? Serena pressed. By now the demon had dropped his illusions and was doing his best to at least get up on his hands and knees. That way he would be able to crawl to the other side of the road. However, he realized with disgust that he wasn't able to even lift himself. Blood was still flowing from his mouth with every ragged, harsh breath, and he hadn't healed yet. He hadn't even begun to heal yet. He reluctantly admitted to himself that he should have taken the Nephilim's offer to eat some pain, fear, or both. Now he was weak, injured, and in more pain than even he wanted to admit. I only terrorized your dad's home, the demon told Serena, gritting his teeth and glaring at her. Hello, little girl. Serena was silent as she studied the demon. Serena knew the demon wasn't lying. Whatever reason the demon had for being honest, Serena wasn't about to question it. Why? Serena questioned. He was going to shoot the Nephilim, the demon responded. What? Serena breathed. For snooping around in your car, the demon said with a cough that brought up blood. Hey, you there, little girl, oh my god. Curiosity almost killed the little rabbit, the demon chuckled. Serena was silent and decided to help the demon. She already knew that she would have to report the accident, go through tests, possibly have her badge revoked if they found her guilty, which she technically was, but she hoped nobody would decide to slip alcohol in a urine sample that she knew would be clean. Because, yeah. Help me get him in the car. Let's hope the damage to the cruiser isn't half as bad as the damage to him, Serena told Chris. What? Chris asked with confusion. Look, call it guilt, but I'm not leaving him. Demon or not, Serena explained. Besides, if I do this for him, he'll owe me big time, Serena stated. Again, Chris reminded her. Exactly. Serena reluctantly agreed. I don't like it, Chris told Serena. Neither do I, Serena agreed. I really don't, Serena mumbled. I hate feeling guilty more, though. So, will you help me get him in the cruiser? Serena asked Chris. Chris narrowed his eyes, gave a soft growl, and helped Serena put the demon in the back of the cruiser. Serena assessed the damage to the cruiser, deemed it minimal, got in and started the cruiser. Serena drove away from the site, and after careful driving, Serena made it to her apartment. Chris carried the demon in the apartment. He wanted to throw the unconscious demon on the floor and rip his wings off. Instead, Chris placed the unconscious demon on the couch, hissing softly as he straightened himself. Ouch. Well, hello there, little girl. He isn't healing. Shouldn't he be healing? Serena asked Chris. He must have been weak before you hit him, Chris replied with an indifferent shrug. Great, Serena mumbled. I don't even know how to take care of a demon. I barely know how to take care of you, Serena said. If anything, you take better care of me than I do taking care of you, Serena commented. Chris waited until Serena was done venting, and then waited for her to speak again. What do you think a demon eats? Serena inquired. I don't know. I'm not a demon, Chris answered. Serena glanced at Chris and sighed. Why don't you ask him? Chris asked as he heard the demon begin to rouse from unconsciousness. He's currently unconscious. It makes it hard to ask someone questions about their dietary needs, Serena said with a raised eyebrow. She then jumped slightly when she heard the demon speak in a language that sounded like a combination of growls and hisses. English, please, Serena stated as the demon coughed up some blood. Pain and fear are what I eat, the demon managed to tell Serena. He fell silent, forcing himself to fight the darkening room. Serena was silent as she contemplated her options. She sighed when she reached a decision and carefully took the demon's bloodied hand. You can eat my pain, Serena whispered. What? Chris asked as he looked at Serena. That's not a good idea, Chris said. It's the only option we have right now, Serena stated, giving Chris a warning glance. Chris opened his mouth to object, noticed Serena's unspoken warning, and reluctantly closed his mouth, giving a soft snarl of complete irritation. Serena felt someone prodding her mind, and after some painful fighting, she released the memories of her late fiancé, John Alibi, who I am... Actually, yeah, I did get to that when I typed up the first one. I'm still typing up the first one, but moving on. Serena had been hoping to visit these memories one day. She had been hoping to not have to experience so much pain the day she decided to do this. Now, the demon was devouring all of the anguish Serena was feeling from both the good memories and the not-so-good memories. Eventually, the demon released Serena's hand and mind, destroying the link he had made to eat her pain, which means they're technically not linked in any other way any longer other than he's just kind of healed on her couch. That's it. Continuing. Oh my god, eek. Chris was the only one, wow. Chris was the one to help Serena to bed, wrapping her in a blanket and keeping an eye on the now healed demon. Serena eventually cried herself to exhaustion and fell into a deep and unwanted sleep. That's the end of chapter 5. Chapter 6 will hopefully be not so frightful of an appearance. But we'll be on chapter 6 hopefully sometime next week. And really, happy belated Valentine's Day. I do once again apologize about the face and the late upload of said chapter. But if any of you are all interested and not interested in the Frightful Face, I have some accounts if you want to check them out. I have a Wattpad account, which is at Tempesta771. I have a TikTok account, which I have to do some promotions on, but I'm probably not going to do that until Frightful Appearance heals. But I have a TikTok account, which is at AirtonCraven2. No uppercases, no space. I don't know if you can find that under Tempest Braveheart or not, but just to be on the safe side, look for at AirtonCraven2. I have an Instagram, which I have to upload some pictures of, not of my face, because my face is scary. But I have an Instagram, which is under the name Tempest Braveheart, no uppercases or space. You could probably look under the name Ergen Craven, I'm not quite sure. But, yeah, that's my Instagram, is Tempest Braveheart, no uppercases or space. I have a Facebook, which I will, do my best to accept your friend request if I don't know you, but if you turn out to be creepy as fuck, I am gonna block your ass. I'm just letting you know in advance.
And then I will hunt you down!
And that could happen. We'd probably both hunt down the creepy people and the not good creepy people. But moving on, that's just a joke. But the Facebook is under the name Urgent Craven. That has uppercases as well as a space. I have a Snapchat, which I don't honestly know why I even have a Snapchat. I guess just for communication. I have a Snapchat, which is also under Adrian Craven, but the Snapchat has no uppercases or space. And you're watching my YouTube, which is under the name Tempesta Braveheart. And we are done for this week. I will do my best to upload another chapter, which would be chapter 6, sometime next week. But the face might still be a little frightful. Hopefully not so bad, but this is what happens when you forget to wear a helmet. Wear a helmet. Even if it's one of those pedal bikes, the bikes the ching-ching bikes and not the motorized bikes or a motorcycle. No, wear a fucking helmet. But peace out, Girl Scouts, and enjoy the mental hilarity.